The devastation in Lismore is profound. As evacuation centres fill up, 2,000 homes have been confirmed destroyed, with many more to follow.
My home is right near where we're standing, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to get back in there, whether it's actually going to be habitable. Foundations might not have survived, houses might have moved. We just don't know, and every home's going to have to be checked.
Whether the town can and should be rebuilt on its current site, now an open question. As the flood disaster enters its second week, some communities are still cut off, without fresh food, fuel or electricity.
I know that there's still a number of isolated communities, so we'll continue to do particularly food drops. I think it's been appropriate, but I understand the frustrations.
Early on in the week, as the floodwaters rose, we still had torrential weather and we could not get aircrafts into the skies.
Authorities admitting they were caught out.
The flood heights were never expected to get anywhere near what was ultimately demonstrated. It caught a number of organisations unawares because the forecast simply wasn't there.
Today, the New South Wales Premier was on the ground and on the defensive.
There's not much mental health can do without housing. People need a secure base.
Not really much government support on the ground assisting.
You go through the shock and the sadness, and now we're sort of moving into that anger stage. People want things done.
The Premier again calling on the federal government to release cash from its emergency response fund.
If you're going to use that fund for a disaster, you're not going to get a bigger disaster than this one.
The PM adamant that the cavalry is coming.
There are some 2,000 Defence Force personnel right now currently deployed. This number will increase to some 5,000 over the next few days.
But it's those on the ground that he needs to convince.
Hamish MacDonald joins us now from Coraki, which is just downstream of Lismore. Hamish, Coraki was completely cut off until just yesterday. I mean, this is fresh. How grim is it there?
I'm going to give you a picture of it right now, guys. This is a week on. They've been cut off this entire time. We're in the centre of Coraki, and in every direction you look, it is pretty much the same. There's just destruction from one end of the street to the other. If I take you up this way as well, past the floodwaters, which are still here, there's just more destruction as well. Everywhere you go, this place is literally a disaster, and it stinks as well. I met one of the locals cleaning his front yard before I said, can you describe for the camera what it smells like? He said, well, I'm a plumber and I'm used to this. It smells like that. And the locals don't have any electricity at the moment. They've been waiting for the RFS, the Army, the SES to get here for a full week. They haven't had any comms, any 3G. They've been struggling to get in touch with family just in places like Lismore and Ballina to let them know that they're okay. This town basically all ended up on the hill just up here because that's the only place that they could get to that was safe. One family just down the road from us here, I said to them, what's it been like being cut off for the last week? They said it's been hell.
So, Hamish, we know what happened initially. I mean, what's this now turning into? We heard the Mayor of Lismore there talking about anger. How angry are the people in Coraki?
I think there's a fair amount of anger, but Pricey, I think what is very clear now is that something failed in a really big way. Australia's good at responding to natural disasters and emergency. We throw everything at it. We have all of the agencies. We know how to get to the communities that need help right away. It just didn't happen in this circumstance. We know that it's also not just about boots on the ground. Obviously, it's great that the Army is now here. But what we're hearing is that it wasn't just at that level, it was the coordination level as well. Ordinary citizens are the ones that are organising for crews and tradies and electricians to get out to people. They're identifying who the disabled individuals are or the elderly that need help. It's not the authorities, it's not the government, it's not the big agencies that have been doing that. And so I think that's why people remain pretty confused and they feel as though they were actually just left behind and forgotten about in all of this. On top of that, Pricey, I think it's clear that there was an initial stage to this disaster, the acute flooding crisis, people stranded on roofs. But there is now a second layer to this emergency that is appearing, and I don't think we quite understand that. I know the politicians are saying they do, and things like the cavalry are coming. When you stand here, it doesn't really feel like that, I've got to be honest.
Hamish, we'll definitely have to keep an eye on it. I mean, it's going to be a big national story now. So thank you very much for your time and for your reporting. Appreciate it.